All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we are going to talk about Terence Crawford's claim that he let Showtime, Al Haymon, and Errol Spence Jr. know that he was going to be fighting this year, and the reaction of Showtime sports president Stephen Espinoza, and also whether or not there will be any Errol Spence Jr. or Showtime fights for the fighters that were waiting on that announcement this year. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are going to be on the aftermath of this debacle called the Errol Spence Jr. Terence Crawford negotiation, and Terence Crawford's claims that he let Errol Spence and the PBC, specifically Al Haymon, know that he was going to fight this year. Stephen Espinoza gave his reaction to that on a Twitter space called Chicken Talk. Most definitely go check those guys out. Before I get into that, and the very bad news about Errol Spence Jr. fighting this year, or any of the other, top guys at the PBC that we were waiting to see fight. What is happening to them because of this? Stephen Espinoza explained it. Now, before I get into it, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you're a longtime subscriber, supporter, thank you for your support. If you're new, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, would be greatly appreciated. And thank you to everybody that supports over there in the Super Chat and the Cash App. It really does help the channel continue to grow, maintain, keep these lights on, all of that good stuff. So let's get into this, man. Right after Terence Crawford pulled out of the Errol Spence Jr. fight, he gave an interview on ESPN. And what he said, justifying the move that he made, was that he had told Al Haymon and Terence and Errol Spence Jr. that he was going to take a fight this year. That's what he said. In a recent interview or a spontaneous question and answer session on Twitter on a space called Chicken Talk, Stephen Espinoza said that is categorically not true. That they had no idea that Terence Crawford was planning to fight this year. And if they had known that, that implied that if they had known that, they would have known to be able to set up something for Errol Spence and the rest of the guys that are waiting to try to get those fights. But Terence Crawford never let them know that, and basically said, I know for sure that right there is not true. Now, aside from that, a little common sense, if you pay real close attention to what has been said in the news, what media leaks have been out there, and all of this stuff and all of that type of stuff, you'd also know that that is not true. Because two diametrically opposed things cannot be true at the same time. Okay? It's just what it is. If a man is not alive, you don't see him walking down the street. Okay, in order to walk down the street, you got to be alive. If the man is in a casket 6 feet below the ground, he's obviously not alive. You didn't see him walk down the street. Two things can't be true at the same time. In this particular instance, Terence Crawford said that he accepted all the terms for that fight and was waiting to hear back from them. And one of the terms was that the bout was going to be held on February 4th of 2023. You cannot both tell somebody that you are going to fight this year and agree to fight next year at the same time. Doesn't work. Which one is it? Did you accept all the terms when you were going to fight on February 20, including fighting February 23rd, right? Now, Stephen Espinoza said the reason it was February 23rd, he implied it, was because of Terence Crawford, and said that the contract, that the whole negotiation had taken so long because they kept getting counteroffers and long periods of silence, unexplained periods where there was no reaction, no back and forth talk, none of that. And it wound up stretching the conversation on and on and on and on. Errol several months ago said, look, when all is said and done, you're going to see who doesn't want this bout. When it's all said and done, you're going to see who is going to walk away from this fight. And guess who walked away from the fight? The guy that Terence Crawford, Errol Spence Jr. said was going to walk away from that fight. Now, people want to assume and guess and all that stuff about why it was exactly that he walked away from it. And we can have fun with that conversation. That's fine. Ain't no biggie. Some people are going to say that he's afraid of the fight, that he's not going to win the fight. Some people are going to say, oh, it's because he went to go get $10 million and somebody offered him $10 million guarantee. And oh, by the way, he's already got the $10 million in cash. Like, look, man, the idea that Terence Crawford is afraid to fight Errol Spence Jr. is, in my opinion, is about as ridiculous as him already having $10 million in his bank account for a fight that's taking place on a network that is not big as, I mean, I don't even know what to say. Do you even call that a network, right? To me, it very well may be true. I mean, it could be true, right? But it just is not very likely, right? What I personally think is that Terence Crawford wants to go undefeated. And I think that he probably wants one or two more fights. He doesn't really want to risk it against Errol Spence Jr. unless he's going to get a ridiculous amount, not ridiculous amounts, but very large sums of guaranteed money in order to risk it. Right? I think he's a risk-adverse person. I don't think he was ever going to be willing to take like $1 million guarantee and then get 40% of back-end money on pay-per-view sales and leave that up to chance. Because what did he walk away from the bout on? According to what information we have, a guarantee where he knows that's how much money he's going to get and he doesn't care how well the fight sells. Obviously, he doesn't care how well the fight sells because he probably just cares about, oh, it's going to be in Omaha, Nebraska. We're going to get a good gate. I'm going to be able to fight in front of my hometown where I live. People are going to come out and support me and all that good stuff. So we're going to have an event. I'm going to get a big guarantee and then we'll move on and see what I'm going to do next, right? But what is the key? What is the key to that? The key to that is the guarantee. And the fact that he doesn't have to worry about whether or not Black Prime TV is going to sell 500,000 pay-per-views or whether they're going to sell 10,000 pay-per-views or whether they're going to sell 5,000 pay-per-views or 15 or 50,000. It doesn't matter to him because he's not caring about the back end because he's getting stuff up front. Now, is he getting $10 million up front? I mean, there's a lot of really, really convenient explanations coming out of the mouths of people that keep telling you stuff that winds up not being true, right? So I will take that with a grain of salt, the exact amount of it, and just say, hey, he's probably getting a bigger guarantee than he was going to get against Errol Spence. Now, was the guarantee against Errol Spence $0? I doubt that very, very, very highly. Very highly. A zero guarantee. But is it $1 million, 1.5, 2? Probably somewhere in there because that's what Errol's guarantee was against Yordenis Ugas, against Sean Porter and guys like that. That's the type of guarantee that Gervonta Davis gets because those guys are all working on their ticket sales and the back end money that they get from the fight. But Terence Crawford is not somebody his entire career that has operated like that and more than likely doesn't want to change the model of his operation at this point in time in his career. I think that's the most likely explanation for why it did, for why it didn't happen. However, at the end of the day, it still does freeze up Errol for the rest of the year. Now he may fight in January, might fight in February, something like that. However, for boxing fans, there's not going to be anything that we want that some of us really want to see in November, in December, or in January. And last time I checked, that's a fourth of the year locked up because Terence Crawford wouldn't tell him ahead of time, look, man, I'm going to fight in December or I'm fighting earlier. Or you're using the excuse of fighting this year, really just using that excuse instead of just telling the truth and saying, look, man, I don't want to fight for no guarantee. I want the guaranteed money. And I don't want the back end. Something Bob Arum has already said about it. And why would Bob Arum know that? Because Bob Arum has been dealing specifically with Terence Crawford. Also, Bomac has said that before. We're getting guaranteed money. You're living paycheck by paycheck. Talking about Errol Spence. Paycheck by paycheck means you don't have a series of fights where you know exactly how much money you're getting. You have fights where you have a very low guarantee and you got to sell each one of them. And that's not something they were interested in. And, that's the most likely the truth. But anyway, It is what it is. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.